From an insane bike chase through the narrow alleys of Brazil that ended in a crash, to a chase in Vietnam with multiple gunshots leading to a bike catching on fire. These are the most intense bike chases we have ever seen. The most intense pursuit between the police and two reckless suspects in a chase that Hollywood can only dream of. This officer was in pursuit of two perps on a bike speeding down the streets of Brazil. Upon noticing the cops, the suspect took a sharp right turn, forcing the officer to speed through a roundabout to catch up to them. As the suspect takes increasingly sharper turns, narrowly avoiding a crash each time, it becomes urgent to stop them before they hurt themselves or someone else. The driver barrels through narrow alleys in an attempt to lose the cop, almost hitting every obstacle in his path. When he finally makes it out, he hits a speed bump that nearly launches his partner into the air. Recovering from this setback, the driver zigzags through oncoming traffic, staying just out of reach through sheer skill. As the situation becomes dire and his escape seems real, the driver makes the fatal mistake of trying to squeeze through a razor-thin alley. What you're about to witness is one of the craziest chases we have ever seen. Not only did it escalate to the point where the police had to fire shots in public, but one of the bikes caught on fire in the middle of the road. The police were chasing a stolen bike barreling down the road. As officers sped up to catch them, the suspect hit the throttle, leaving the police behind. The perps swerved through lanes, driving into oncoming traffic, making it seem impossible to stop them. The stolen bike was much faster, and the officers had no chance of catching up. Suddenly, the tide turned. The bikers took a horrible turn, causing the bike to slip and crash in the middle of the road. Now, with speed on their side, the officers quickly arrest the thieves.
Dạ đây. Chạy đi. Chạy đi. Chạy không?
Thấy không? Chết không? Lấy cái tay này sao rồi cho nằm xuống này, lấy cái giỏ ra. Lấy giỏ ra.
Được ra sao?
Only to look back and find that the stolen bike was already lost and had sadly caught on fire. This rider cuts through traffic and drives into the wrong side of the road, all while being chased by a police SUV. In an insane show of skill, the police SUV somehow keeps up with the biker, navigating horrible terrain while trying to outmaneuver him. Finally, the cruiser gets its chance, slamming into the biker and arresting him as he tries to flee on foot.
He's going so fast that everyone's having trouble keeping up with this guy, including us.
This chase has everything from squad cars to a police helicopter and even a news chopper recording the entire event.
High rate of speed now on the 710 freeway, covering a large amount of ground, and so dangerous enough that, as Mike was telling us, some of the units have pulled back, and now they're going to be tracking this from the air. But the wonder is there more than speed here? He's wanted for speed, but what else does he know that he might be wanted for, right?
The police were trailing a rider driving at insanely high speeds, reaching up to 140 miles per hour through the traffic-dense streets of LA.
135 miles an hour, or is it just the distance?
We really, I know, Juan, we really are. We are pedal to the metal up here in SkyCal right now, trying to keep up with this guy. This guy is going about as fast as we can fly.
Wow.
Very, very close to our max speed right now. So, you know, when you think about someone going this fast on a motorcycle with absolutely no protection, I mean, we all know some of the pursuits and how horribly they've ended because suspects decide to, you know, literally put their life on the line to get away, that they were initially wanted for speeding. And just look at how quickly going by all this traffic so fast. If anyone makes any kind of move to get in front of this guy, I don't care how good of a rider he is, there's no way he's going to be able to avoid it. If there's some kind of debris in the roadway, that they're not going to have any chance to avoid either, and this is going to end terribly here. It's just blistering speeds here, 135 miles an hour. The ground units really not even making an attempt to catch up because it would obviously just be too dangerous for them. You see the spotlight from CHP's helicopter that's struggling to keep up with this one as well. This is one of the fastest pursuits I have ever covered.
Due to public safety concerns, the police deployed multiple ground units and helicopters to follow and stop the reckless driver. As the distance between the rider and the ground units increased, it seemed impossible to stop him without endangering others. The rider managed to avoid hundreds of cars and trucks, weaving in and out of traffic without a care in the world. The ground units were too far behind, but the helicopter managed to keep up. The rider almost lost control multiple times, adjusting himself and his bike just in time. With so many close calls and driving at such high speeds without proper gear, we could only hope this chase wouldn't end in a horrific crash.
Hasn't this person been running lights? Running through lights?
This person has not been running lights. We've had those super crazy speeds, but they've been stopping at all the red lights.
Or maybe he thought he'd already lost the police. As the light turned green, he sped off again, almost as if he was mocking traffic laws.
That seems to be where they draw the line, is crossing red lights. But speeds, you know, we've seen 70, 80 miles an hour on surface streets, 130 on freeways. I do have to mention that we are, as we crossed Imperial and Alameda, now officially on the edge of LAX's airspace. So that is going to be possibly another complicating factor for us, depending on where the suspect wants to go. But we are westbound on Imperial Highway, Imperial Highway kind of functions like a mini freeway in some stretches. Here you go,
Yeah,
up
it's
to
wide
70,
street.
80 miles an hour now.
The police chopper steadily followed the driver, who was riding so recklessly that the police couldn't use a pit maneuver out of fear for his and others' safety. Their only option? To wait for him to run out of fuel and give up. Just as the driver was on the brink of escaping, he made another bold, stupid stop. Seizing the opportunity, 2 LAPD officers ran into him, tackled him to the ground, and cuffed him on the spot.
Oh, look, there's a CHP unit behind him.
I see.
Let's see if they light him up, but I'm not unaware that everyone is still looking at him.
Well, you notice he turns around.
Yeah.
To see what's behind him. So he knows they are. Maybe he wants to see how close, or if
Look
you're
at him,
right,
there he is. Yeah, Pat.
if ground units have actually picked up this pursuit again. Well, look at this. Look at
Well,
this.
let's see.
Oh.
Whoa. Wow, just like that. Oh,
I'm sorry.
My goodness.
I'm sorry.
CHP was not having it. They were not having it tonight. Wow.
Okay.
That was an interesting little sneaky maneuver there by CHP to come up.
Oh, boy.
Just kind of sneak up behind him. And before he could think about anything, they got out, pushed him off the bike, and that brings this to an abrupt end.
Okay, now.
What you're about to see is the most dangerous chase ever recorded. This incredibly skilled suspect couldn't be stopped by anything. Not rough terrain, not hundreds of cars, and definitely not the law. This police officer was trailing a biker. Upon seeing the officer, the suspect cut between dozens of cars in an attempt to lose him. What he didn't know was that the officer was just as skilled. The biker effortlessly cut through trees, grass patches, and anything in his way, but the officer stayed right behind him, barely out of reach. The cop and the driver were neck and neck. The driver was almost caught but swerved lanes at the last second. The biker weaved through an onslaught of vehicles in a panicked manner with the officer right behind him. Finally, he gained some distance, only to lose it immediately after a bad turn, leading to a dangerously close call. After several near misses and a desperate struggle to evade capture, the driver attempted a reckless U-turn to double back. At first, it seemed like he'd narrowly escaped, but his victory was short-lived. As he accelerated, he fumbled the next turn, lost control of the vehicle, and the officer slammed him to the ground, swiftly taking him into custody. Luckily, this terrifying chase was stopped before it could cost innocent lives. Which chase did you like the most? Let us know in the comments and subscribe for more.